The following is a public health announcement. I should almost affix a Surgeon's General warning to the bottom of this video because it really is a matter of public health. There are all kinds of negative health impacts associated with being way too invested in every fleeting Trump-related controversy. Many people have been known to undergo what you might charitably call mental health distress because they're just too excessively fixated on every single thing this guy does to a degree that cannot be conducive to a sustainable life. And you'd think this message would have been just blaringly, almost tediously apparent after 4 years of this stuff, but the way that the news cycle is configured really incentivizes continued churning out of these controversial tidbits every single day. And of course, Trump himself feeds into it because the primary way he seems to conceive of his role as president is as pundit-in-chief rather than commander-in-chief. So he loves it. He eats it up, and he and the media feed off one another in this kind of perverse feedback loop. So how do you know when there's a Trump-related controversy that you'd be better off probably just ignoring? Well, usually when there's no larger principle at stake, when the controversy doesn't bear on any policy area that is going to be affected as a result of the supposed controversy. So a perfect example would be this now multi-day brouhaha over Trump sharpieing Alabama on a map of the trajectory of Hurricane Dorian. I mean, give me a break. I almost want to pull my hair out when I see people flipping out over this, and when I see, frankly, Trump egging on the controversy, maybe because he derives some kind of craven amusement from it. Is it a little weird that Trump would have sharpied the map? Sure. Is it that big of a deal, ultimately? Is anybody going to remember this a year from now? Does it have any impact on any larger policy issue? Does anything of real consequence hinge on this? No, I don't think so. I mean, maybe you could vaguely argue that Trump corroding just the authority of the presidency is on some fundamental level a lasting consequence, but that wouldn't necessarily have to do so specifically with this little mini controversy having to do with his sharpieing tactics. I mean, it's just this silly season stuff that tends to arise when you have slow news cycles. And there hasn't been a whole lot going on in the past couple weeks that really has focused the mind of the media. I mean, every day there's something, right? But there hasn't been a true flagship dominant story in the past few weeks, and that would include this week, which is, a holiday week, so maybe people are not quite as tuned in. And so the media needs, on a visceral and almost sick level, to latch onto these controversies, and then it provokes Trump into perpetuating them, and it's just so boring at this point. And it just indicates that after all this time, after we've been inundated with Trump now for 4 years, there's still not a level of awareness in the people who are centrally in charge of sort of dictating daily media cycles about how best to portray this individual. And it's a little disturbing because if you're still screwing up at this point, maybe you should consider a different line of work. Now, you'll probably hear somebody retort, but he's the president. Okay, yeah, but you are somebody who could use discretion in how to characterize and report on the president. That's kind of your job. And you have to weigh different considerations in determining what is newsworthy and what isn't, what is just sort of trivia, and what is outrage bait. And this seems to be outrage bait, and the guy baiting it is the president. So, yeah, you have to remain aware of it on some level. But I think it's really prudent to allocate one's attentional resources in a sustainable fashion. And getting overly fixated on something as, fleeting and trivial as this is just not a healthy move. So try to steel yourself for these controversies in a way that doesn't doesn't result in you, just becoming overly fixated on inanities because you miss the bigger picture. And there's a lot going on in a bigger picture sense that deserves serious attention. This is just not one of them. All right? So that was your public service announcement. Please heed my call, and I will talk to you later.